and Dave's son are due down here momentarily. It's a terrible rainy day. We're going to try to get some work done on his one. This is the carbon fiber wing airplane, our test model.
What you want.
And so it came to be that the carbon fiber wing plane came to life under the tutelage of the Midgley family.
Hi.
Dave's son, who is now 17, ready to drive a car. You feeding Peeps?
Yeah.
All right, he's hungry. He looks hungry to me. Give him some berries. Not meat. Get off of mine. Now, just to bring us up to speed, Dave's going to be here this weekend. We have two projects. We want to put some trim on this plane. And this certainly looks like we're going to accomplish that. This is the carbon fiber wing. Don't do that at home to your Aries. All right, you got the elevators on there?
Paint off of those, are they all right?
And we're trying to decide, did you make up some drawings as to what you want to do with this?
Yeah, there's some drawings.
Okay, well that looks real nice, Woody. Compliments to the chef.
It's straight, I can tell you that.
It's straight. We're not going to go for the first wing over and Dave's going to come out inverted and whack.
No.
All right, that looks pretty good. He's also going to try to do some repair on Dave's, this is the old mirror image, the original one. He's been doing some repair on that for a long time. We don't know how much we're going to get done, but it looks like we're going to have weather today and no weather tomorrow. This is the first time I've seen this all in white. Now this is white paint, not white primer.
White paint.
Yeah, a couple of things before you go any further. Let's do this. Get the paint, because otherwise they're going to stick on there. And you can clip that. You can clip that 1/4 inch off of there so they're not so long. Those are way too long. Just make them shorter.
Why?
Okay, so what we have, Dave has made some sketches.
8 years ago.
Okay, this was when you did the mirror image, right?
This one might be neat. It's only 3 colors. Primary color, and then 2 other colors. You can take them off, or you can do this to them. You got that.
Here's a better idea. Use 2 colors, and this third one is the whole color, and mask out the letters before you spray it. This way you save one whole masking.
I had that somewhere. That was another option.
On the back side of this?
No, I guess I didn't bring it. It's yeah, right here. This is what we're talking about here. Oh no, you're talking about use 2 colors.
Yeah, that's this. What I'm saying, this color can go right up onto the fuselage. You can have a trim color, and a third color out here. And when you spray this color, make the stencils for the letters, so when you pull them up, you've got one painting and you're done. Next color, done, and then you paint the body. You can do it in less steps that way. We've gone back and forth making sketches, and Dave's got all his candy pearlescent colors.
That looks about right.
Yep.
And we decided we're going to go for broke. He's going to really do something unique here.
There you go. Now you're looking for 5 inches?
Yeah. Measure each. If you're going to do 5
inches.
Now what he's doing, the first thing he wants to get is that it looks right. It's not wide enough. It's got to be wider to be right. What we're trying to do is geometrically take a very long, thin wing. This is a high aspect wing. This is longer than a normal cardinal would be. And we're trying to make it look shorter to the naked eye. And what you do with that is break it up with wide bands going in this direction. And the opposite on the tail. It's a low aspect ratio tail, so we're going to try to come up with something different in the back. So first he's laying it out so it looks right to him, and then we'll make up some patterns. Up some patterns, just rough out how we want it. Once he's got a rough idea of what he wants it to look like, keep in mind this guy is a professional artist. He's not your average modeler. He's not your average cup of soup. Okay, now you can lay that pattern out there. You don't need one on the flap because that's going to be a straight line. Okay, now take a couple of cut a couple of holes in there so you can hold it down with tape. You should be working harder here, you know? You're not doing much work. For the kind of money we're paying you, you know? You want to go to Brodax, you got to pay.
All I have to do is this.
You just need little holes so you can hold the patterns down.
No, up here.
See, now, the thing you can do now is if you decide you want to make that stripe wider or
You can
thinner,
just put it here, Woody.
you can trim
That's all
it.
we need.
Now you got a good reference point. You put a little piece up in the front. Because these things have to match. Everything has to match pretty well. Now just figure out how wide you want to make this stripe and cut a piece of material that width. How wide did you make the stripe the other time?
8 inches.
8. Okay, so cut a strip of 8 inch, make a pattern. He's happy with the width here. It's basically 2, 1/2. The ratio. Now we want to get the thin stripe here.
Want to hand me the knife, Woody?
And everything's going to have a white outline on it.
That's fine.
What are you going to go with? 2 inches on the long stripe?
The width of this ruler is what it's going to be.
Okay.
3/4, I would think.
Should I measure it?
Don't have to.
Parallel to the, I thought you wanted
You want it parallel to this line
Let me
here.
get that point.
That's what I want.
I need a smaller ruler. You've got the big ones over there.
You got the green stripe wide enough. Now the choices are he's got the red stripe
The red stripe's not right.
parallel to the trailing edge. I think it looks better parallel to the leading edge.
I gotta agree.
Yeah, the red over the green.
Did I hear that? I have to agree.
I don't.
This man graduated art school.
I gotta agree with you. I like it parallel to the leading
Okay, but
edge.
see, the reason we're showing this is by doing it with patterns, we have a lot of choices, and you're not. Once we lay out one wing panel, and what we'll do is we'll record all the dimensions. Then it's just labor laying out other wing panels.
That's close.
And we're planning on doing a matching stripe along the body with the back of the canopy picking up the same angle, which is pretty similar to the same angle on the rudder. That's the thing to keep in mind, Dave. We want to pick up the angle on the rudder, that, and the canopy. All those 3 angles the same.
Rudder tipper's angled back too.
Yeah, we gotta. When we do that, we'll pick that angle up.
Pretty much.
Decision been made. A corporate decision here. What's the decision?
Parallel to the leading edge.
Parallel to the leading edge. Okay. All right. Pick up the dimensions on there.
Alright, I got them.
You're gonna measure from here along this line. That's what we want.
Okay, we can get that one. That one there is 7
Let me tell you, if it's off, when you eyeball it up.
1/4. And you mark that point.
Okay, so this way you'll be able to get them symmetrical. That's for sure.
Oh, that one on the other side.
We have one wing just roughed in, and now using the same patterns and using the measurements, he's getting the rough in from the second wing. And anytime you forget a measurement, Woody, you can just walk over to the other wing.
Take the other one.
Yeah. You happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay. See, it's because you have this unique high aspect wing shape that you've got to take it into account.
Driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Design a trim scheme.
Yeah. And a real blunt leading edge. The leading edge on this wing is much blunter than a cardinal.
I don't know if you needed this paper.
We have this just thinner on that.
On all my other plans.
Okay. But by making up these various little paper, I call them paper dolls, just makes it a lot more repeatable when you go to repeat it. Figure it out. And I mean, this was an amazing discovery. Those years in college were not wasted. He realized that now that we have tape at all corners, he can connect the lines. Whoa!
This is known as connect the dots.
This is connect the tape line. But the trick is to get them exactly even in the middle, because as that plane is flying at you, you're going to see like the invasion stripes.
I want those cuts.
This is kind of like the same look as invasion stripes.
Cut on the center.
Yep. And you can see the center there.
Going anywhere now. Now that we're a Sato dealer, we have loads of these 56s around. These 56s are a little smaller than the 72s, and they fit. I'm just looking. That's a Tiger 60 mount.
That's a Tiger 60.
You know the holes? Well, one hole lines up anyway. The back hole.
Those are only for 4.
Why would you get one? You'd have to carve a little bit. You could have that in there in 15 minutes if you decided that's what you wanted. Piece of cake. Piece of cake. This is originally made for Tiger 60.
Shouldn't need anything that strong.
But you got a PA and you got a Jet and you got a 65. You got plenty of choices. Anyway, we do have plenty of these around now. In fact, they're starting to proliferate all over the shop.
I know there's one thing that I
To
do.
get that rudder on, then we want to pick that angle up. We're going to make the fuselage, let's call it a band. Try to pick that angle up and then the canopy, and then we'll be ready. Jim Damerell brought his turbine, what do they call it, a low?
HVLP, high volume, low pressure.
Okay, we're going to do a little test with his new turbine spray system, which he guarantees Midgley will totally ruin on him by the end of the day.
And after that, I'm not sure. To the
Okay, here's the eyeball of the set. Now, you got that angle. It does, for some reason, it doesn't look right. We're trying to reference if it's this angle. No, that looks like it's got to go further forward, Dave.
Yeah.
Further forward by a quarter of an inch. You know what? Make a paper dolly pattern up. That width. Make a paper doll, because that'll give you a better reference line than the thin tape.
I was just trying to get the line.
We'll try to get the angle. This is probably the most difficult part of this whole job is Dave's laying out the fuselage side trim.
A little further.
Because we want it to match. Now we got, I don't know if we just got these from Pat Johnson. This is Harold Price's original Valkyrie. This is the one I flew, yeah. Now we need 2 sheets. DJ, you gonna work for me? You gotta play by the rules. Yeah, don't rip them all apart. These are priceless relics. There's the wing, that's what we want to see. Just like me, priceless old relics. Yeah, that looks nice. That's a nice wing. I mean, it's hard not to like that wing, boy. There you go. This is Harold Price's Valkyrie, done by Pat Johnson. Jimmy's going to make us some plan copies so we can play paper dolls. And Bill Hummel is writing an article that you'll see in Stunt News probably a couple months from now.
What is this called?
Valkyrie.
This was preceded the Crusader, same way.
His profile, he did a nice job on the planes.
Now that both your hands are busy, peeps will move in.
Yeah, peeps will move in for their kill. As soon as he knows you have no way of defending yourself. What do you think, peeps? How do you like these plans? I'll have them for supper.
Plans? I thought you said pants. Okay.
Look.
Now I'll have some shirt.
Okay, Pat Johnson has the master copy. If anybody can't live without a copy of these, just give Pat a call. And they probably are going to appear in Stunt News. The wing design is the coolest. They're going to appear in Stunt News, I guess. 2 issues from now would be safe. Bill's still working on a story. But the plane, this is the one I refinished in 1960. Now think of that, that's 32 years or 30 years ago. This was the original one, the yellow and blue one that I refinished into Aerogloss Metallic Maroon. And the one Harold flew, which was the latest of all of them, of the Valkyries. But really neat, if you're looking for something original to go to VSC with, this is certainly one I'd choose if I was going to be able to go to VSC. This would be one of my choices. Thanks, Pat Johnson, for a great job, and Bill Hummel for soon-to-be good story to give Harold some of the tribute he certainly is due. Be ready to backmask, my boy. Yes, no, maybe. Woody, what do you think?
I think so.
Looks okay? It's acceptable?
Nothing on the rudder?
No, I don't think so. Maybe we'll make one of those little Raven things for the rudder or for the nose. We're thinking about making up a little stencil for the Raven here, the Don Dixon Raven. We can come up with something while the paint's drying. I'll come up with some little artwork. Yeah, I think that's going to be fine. Now the easiest thing is now going to be, now you got to make a decision on the color. What's the consensus for a color here? We're going to do the wide bars first. You know what you could do, Dave? We could do the little bars first if you want. You got to backmask it twice anyway, so 2 or 3 times, I don't know.
This is all one.
Make a decision. Decisions. Okay, before we backmask, Dave's gonna seal all the edges, because the 1/8 inch tape is not going to come off. Luckily, Jimmy has some nice long fingernails from being at VSC. Okay. We'll be ready to backmask soon. Now as we go into backmasking mode, you can see we have the whole A-team here. Rich Jacobone on razor blade, Jimmy on clear coat, Doran entertaining us with how to build a plane.
It's no make difference. It's okay.
Doran, do you have a day job? Don't quit it. Hey, he's got a nice building table. What am I talking about?
Obviously, he doesn't use his TV.
Now this is great. Doran has an apartment and he doesn't sleep in a bedroom, so he has a place to build, and he doesn't sleep in the living room because that's where he stores his planes. And it's a one-bedroom apartment.
You live in a house and you never go upstairs, so...
You're right. Oh, we're all sick puppies. Doran, we are loving your video, trust me. He's got a wash line in the bedroom. Look at this.
That's 2 Holy Bings.
The Holy Bings? Oh,
We put
God,
the
it's
things on the 3 wires to line them up.
Oh, wow. Actually, it doesn't look like too shabby of an apartment. It's like Jacobone's house. Look how many wings he's got. Look at all, what is he, in business like Tom Morris? Holy mackerel. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going in business. Look at this. There's got to be 10 wings. We can't be diverted. We need to backmask. Jimmy has his turbine. Tell me about this sprayer. It's a turbine.
Turbine instead of a compressor to heat the air and provide more volume and pressure. And then it's a big body gun to allow the air to flow through. It's the real HVLP like you use on a production line.
Right, okay. Now we're going to do a little demonstration. We're actually going to test it on our test plane right now, as soon as we get the backmasking done. And believe me, with the A-team in action, backmask, and with Doran entertaining us, this backmasking will go in a snap. You're like watching a Howard Stern show. So this whole party has deteriorated into doing Doran imitations. Doran, I'm going to send you a copy of this thing.
He can do this.
I know one thing. People worried about what Stevie thinks about anyway.
Doran, do you remember that year you came to the Nats and you didn't have any money and Woody and I took up a collection for you? What was that, a 96 or something?
Now you pay for this thing.
Now you're going to pay because we're going to harass you. We're going to edit your video.
Your turn.
We can take the sound out and put words in his mouth.
That takes care of that.
I will put Vindy out of business. Doran, you don't even have a bird. Oh, man. Anyway, we were impressed. Doran has 50 different planes in his living room. I don't know how many planes he's got. He's got more planes than Mitchell has.
These no good. These heavy. We make many more till we get some light.
I gotta give the guy credit. Last year he came with a plane that
Yeah, I thought that plane was going to crash. He made it through the week.
See us take apart elevators?
Yeah, scary stuff. This is not my kind of engineering. Scary.
Look at all these planes he's got. He's right.
I know, he's got hundreds of, he's getting more done today than we're getting done.
When did he get?
We have too much talk and no painting.
Okay, so what else do we do, Woody? That's it for that. That's it? Yeah. 2 years ago he had nothing, Wendy. What is this? You got a promotion or something?
I think he's selling drugs.
Jeez. Here's those two.
Peeps is attacking Jimmy. Now he's on Jack. Are we almost ready to paint?
It appears that.
All right, are we ready?
This is getting covered?
Yeah, let's just...
Good deal. It rained all morning. It's extremely humid, and that's why we're doing this test. Now, this system is supposed to eliminate a lot of the moisture in the air because it's a turbine. So first, Dave's doing a little, or somebody's doing a little practice here. Let's get this on tape. This is the compressor. You can see how big the air hose is. That must make putting on clear nice, huh?
And you can even throttle the air if you want. Still not leaving too much overspray. Throttle the air there. And you can see there's no dust. He sprays the thing and right over here there's nothing on your hand. It goes nowhere but that way. Try it out. It's nice.
No, I want you to try it. When you're done, whatever paint's left over, I'll do. Put it on lighter than you think you have to begin with. Too thick. So you can tell by the little dots the thing is too thick, that should be dust. Better. See, when you see the little dots, that's even on the thick side, but it's not terrible. The thing with high pressure spraying, it blows it everywhere.
Yeah,
This is really...
Right here, there's nothing happening.
Right, right. I'd be thinking for this you want to put 2 thin coats on.
So the hose is never going to be closed. I'm sitting on the edge of my bag, spraying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you look down on the sheet, there's nothing there. Whatever squishes away.
How's that feel? Easy to use?
Dust. It just vacuums away.
I would be thinking...
No, when this starts to get warm, you paint away out a little bit.
You certainly don't have any moisture problem with this. Now, how hot does that compressor get, that turbine?
Well, you gotta let it sit before you take that brass coupling off on the hose.
Okay. I mean, you don't just run over and kiss it.
The case doesn't get hot. The brass hose fitting gets hot.
Yeah, yeah.
But when it's working right, the whole gun gets warm, and then the paint just flows out like no droplets at all. It just comes out like...
This is looking pretty good right now.
And this is detailed. You can paint the whole width of this box in one swipe.
Oh, yeah, that's for painting cars, of course. Brookins said he liked it.
That's as narrow, that's supposedly as wide as it gets. That's as narrow as it gets. Widest. Normally. Well, then there's no fluid, that's why. I don't want a lot of, you don't want for now, but...
Looks like maybe what you want to do is thin the material out. The material might be...
This is thick. You told me, you said make...
Well, I'm used to, on my stuff, you can do it real thick. You gotta learn the new technique. So finish this flap and we'll put a little thinner in the material. You got plenty of Brodak thinner. I mean, you got a little learning curve you got to work with here to get up to speed. And good, you got the flap, you got the rudder you can do too.
Overspray, yeah. Right there, right next to the thing. Maybe it's the angle of it.
No, it's very, very thin paint. And it's got to go over white. This is a wild silver.
It's got to go over white.
Like candy apple.
Pull that and we'll go thin the paint.
Put a little thinner in the paint.
Can we just drop this off?
Yeah. That'd be great for aerating the water in the fish pond. We're in the middle of...
You even got a belt hook at the end of the window.
We're in the middle of our algae bloom. You can't even see the fish anymore. This usually lasts about a month before all the algae gets taken out of the pond. Put the hose back on. It's getting warm. That whole thing is... Okay. But it's the warm that kills the humidity.
Yeah, it also makes the paint lay with less splatter.
Oh, that's laying down much better than before. Can you nozzle it down even more than that? Or are you at the end of your adjustment? I would be thinking a little less material because you got it thinner now. Oh, that's bigger, man.
All the way and back that way. Hose usually sprays about a turn and a half out.
So you got some infinite adjustment on that. How hard is it to clean that gun? Easy to spray thinner through it?
Yeah, because it's pressurizing air through the system. You put thinner in it, it blows it through it.
Oh, okay.
See the tube pressurized?
Yeah, I see.
It force feeds the whole tube. Still too much?
No, I don't think so.
Well, try your flap.
Try cutting some air if you want to, too.
paint Karen's car. That'll make her love us.
Oh, yeah.
We'll all be poisoned for lunch. I don't know if you can see on the video, these are quite translucent, right? He mixed Zodak Clear with his own dyes. These are House of Color dyes to make these personalized, erratic. Alright, here we go. And we don't expect them to cover in one coat.
Spray the tip.
So you're not even getting any on your hand. That's one thing. Yeah, that looks better.
This is nice.
The overspray is better. Just don't get any runs now. Because it's cold out here. If you were doing this on a hot day in California, it'd be a piece of cake. You know, the cold temperature makes everything take longer to dry.
It is. I had things that I swore was going to be the biggest one in the world, and you just leave it, and it goes. It's strange. I guess it's because it needs the paint.
Yeah, I wonder
It
that.
fills up and it thinks about running, and it just sort of goes,
Well, what'd be cool now if we had some sunshine even here, some radiant heat. What I've been doing is painting this stuff and putting it in the Windstar to dry. Let's put the Windstar in the sun.
the Scoringi paint booth.
The Scoringi paint booth, yeah.
Guy from out there had a real nice flying blue angel.
Really?
Randy Fennehay, I think it is, or whatever.
Coverly.
Cumberly, yeah. He's found a way to rework the LA46s.
Yeah.
Nice motor.
Good.
I sent mine to home without ammunition. See what he can do with it. I hope he spoke to Randy, because if you're using too much fuel, talk to Randy. He was using 6 ounces in the box. He was using 6 ounces with his. He was using 6 ounces of fuel to get to a pattern. All he did is profile with square cuts. It was perfect. All he did is radius thing and went down to 4.5 ounces of plate.
That's looking good, Dave. I'd be thinking, let that coat dry. Make sure that coat is dry, please. A little more. You want to shoot the plane? You feel comfortable enough to shoot the plane now?
Give me the bottom of the plane.
Yeah, do the bottom first. You want to hold it vertical or vertical? Hold it on its nose, Woody. That's the easiest way.
What's going on this flat? Should we stick into this airplane before we're doing this? That's doing funnies.
Well, let's see. It's too late now to do anything. Let me see.
You know what I mean?
You might have put some fisheye killer in there or something.
What's the matter?
No, it's because it's Nomex. That's the Nomex.
That's the Nomex showing through? Okay.
Yeah.
If that's what it is, fine.
Yeah, no, that's
I was
no
just seeing the
problem.
hammer tone effect coming through. I didn't know it was legit.
Yeah, it's the Nomex.
Yeah, those flaps were pretty rough. Okay. Never mind that. I thought it was fisheye and orange or something. One John won't come in yet.
I like the way this lays out. Keep in mind, when you're dealing with normal opaque colors, you can usually get them on in 1 or 2 shots. This kind of a very thin, candy apple-y kind of finish, you really got to use your willpower not to try to get it in one coat.
That's my vector, yeah. Don't worry about it yet. He's gonna get another coat. Trailing it. I haven't done the trailing yet.
She's home with lunch! Is it lunchtime? Look at this little Jimmy's compressor.
Like this.
Look at Jimmy's compressor. Jimmy said you can paint in the bedroom. What do you think about that?
Yeah, Jimmy said that. I'm
Jimmy's toast.
Jimmy's bedroom with that.
We got bagels?
We have bagels, we have lunch.
Okay, if you make lunch,
I can't because somebody's in the,
I'll bring it in. Now, as Karen makes us a delicious lunch, the A team is out spraying, the turbine team.
I'm Jim, your station friend.
I'm Jim, fly me to Turbineville. Wow, you guys are really getting high tech here. This looks pretty good, Jimmy. And you've already shot clear with it, so you know that's
Yeah, I've
in the
been
back.
shooting dyed clear.
Well, this is for all purposes dyed clear going on here now. I'd put the stripes the other way, put them this way, and then the third one diagonalize them.
Diagonalize them.
Yeah. And what did you say these units cost? $800 list, and you got it for
List
about
is 8. You can find them on the web at 5.
You got it off the web.
This is an $800 unit that I got at 5. But you can
Wow.
find very comparable stuff. Bring the other one the other way. I know. All right.
Well, if you can't see the stripes,
Okay.
he'll figure out. Now the next coat the next coat the stripes will go the other way. I think you're going to need 3 coats with this. If anybody has any questions, just call Jim Demerol.
Really, you need to get the drilling in.
Call up at his home. You must have the information at home. You don't have the address
Nelson
here?
Hobbies, Oregon.
Nelson Hobbies in Oregon. Okay.
NelsonHobbies.com.
Nice. Now is that getting hot? Can you feel it?
Feel it on top. That's where it gets warm.
Yeah. Well, it's cold out here,
Only
Jimmy.
cold air, so it may not get like
It's
it
warm.
inside.
On a warm day, this would probably work. All right, now we're going to let this
Thing
first,
you ought to do is
let the first coat dry.
the next coat. Let's put the flaps near it so I get them the same.
Exactly, exactly. All right, well, let that dry and we'll have lunch. How hot is the box? The box is warm to the touch and the brass is you can't touch it. Okay, and it's that heat that's bleeding out the moisture probably.
Yeah, that's hot.
Oh yeah, that's hot.
Yeah, that's nice.
Hot as a tune pipe
Feels good
there.
right now.
Okay. All right, Karen's making us lunch.
God
So just let this all cook up.
damn, Rel, you're a
Let
pain
the
in
sun-
my ass. Why? Because now I'm going to have to buy one of these damn...
Set the standard for the worst canopy mold ever made.
Formerly owned by Joe Ortiz, but now...
That was the worst canopy mold I have ever
This looks nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this.
I'm impressed.
All right, you're doing well, my boy. Look at that tune pipe hanging out of there. Look at that. Oh, golly. You silly boy.
I like it. Oh, that is beautiful.
You're doing a nice job, I'm telling you.
Why couldn't you build a canopy mold like this?
Yeah, what holds you back on making a canopy mold?
I don't have the talent that you guys have.
Man, alive.
Nice, Mr. Jacob. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks nice, Rich.
First scoop with a belly scoop.
Why do you have the fillets down when the wing is in neutral? You didn't line that up with anything, did?
I lined it up with the tips.
Rich, this fillet, this dimension here, and this dimension here are off by
Very nice.
a half an inch. I hope you didn't line the controls up with
Look
that.
where he was going to put the elevator. Yeah.
No, look at this, Rich, I'm not kidding. This fillet, this one is in neutral, right?
You don't
This
know.
one is in neutral.
Yeah, this one's in neutral.
And this one's in 10 degrees down. It's going to look terrible.
You'll never know.
You'll never know.
I'll know. I'm putting it on the video. I'm going to tell everybody.
We're going to go down.
I'm going to call Tom Morris for the builder of the fillet roll. This came out nice. This is nice. Nice. You got to get in here. Hey, Rich. Rich.
Fell off like that. You think I can find it?
Never. Richard, what you got to do is you got to get in here and pop all these blisters. We'll do this on video if you
I got
want.
to do it with the...
Razor it. Just razor it and then fill it with holes and get that an edge because that thing's going to bubble up like... You didn't get tissue down in there, did you?
Yes.
Oh!
Problem.
Oh,
The tissue dries, it pulls off.
You gotta leave the tissue. This is why you come to Wendy's for these lessons. Look at this. You gotta leave the tissue an eighth of an inch, quarter of an inch from there both ways. So you gotta sand that whole trowel, like make a trough in there, and then put some Epoxy white in there.
I didn't know.
That tissue will pull right up. Well, that looks nice. I like the profile. Let's see the side view.
Cool looking plane, huh?
Oh yeah.
What is it supposed to be?
It's like Tyson. It's off Tyser's plans, right?
It's another Strager.
Yeah, another P-51. Unbelievable.
Scoop is nice.
Boy, you guys are so good. It's unreal. I'm telling you, I feel like I'm in a world of professionals here. Yeah, that's the only thing. That fillet, that's going to be a problem, yeah.
How much does it weigh?
He's using two hands.
Oh, it's a brick!
Is it? Thank you.
Motor? It's not as light as our carbon wing plane, I guarantee you that.
Rascals.
No, that's heavy. Jeez, you better stop right now putting the paint and fly it the way it is.
That's nice.
Yeah, we'll make it clear.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Thank you.
But why did you have the wings masked off?
Well, because
You were just spraying the body?
No, I was going to do the body. You know, but before doing the body,
Okay.
I want you to take some measurements so you can give me a pipe.
I got a pipe. I made a pipe for you already. Put it in right now. Go take that pipe out. Let's see if it fits.
so off-center in the hole?
I made you a special pipe.
They bolted the motor? I don't know.
Put that downstairs, take the cowling off, and let me see if the other pipe's going to fit. Yeah, when you know.
See, this stinger's got to come out first.
I made you a pipe with a long stinger, you bum.
I don't know why that is. You know, you made a good point.
What's the matter?
Why is the header so far off-center in the fuselage?
He probably made a crooked body. Where's the header?
The header. Put it in the slot there.
Holy mackerel, it's all crooked. I don't know why you do that.
Header, I don't know.
No, it could be something's crooked in there. That's
I got
crazy.
another header.
The whole pipe is off to that side.
I got another header.
I got a header here too if you want
I
to.
bought one from George.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got one. And he said to me that this pipe should be long because it will cool faster, it will cool better.
You never cut the aluminum.
Right. He said if you have to, you cut the pipe.
That's right. He's right. And put the aluminum inside.
Yeah,
Those
so
cable
I
ties,
don't
the
know
better
why.
you are.
This thing is leaking though. I don't understand why.
Well, take it downstairs and take the cowling off. We gotta wait for this to dry anyway. And I'll see if take the pipe out and I'll see if the pipe I made you is gonna fit.
We got one problem on this thing.
What?
Got 3 bubbles on the flat.
Thought I saw something happening on that one flat.
Right here.
Well, go get the number 11 blade. You know how to. Okay. You ever see this? What it is the tissue's coming up. There's no bond there. How about on the other side? Of the whole plane, that's the only spot you have? Just put a million little holes in it.
Take it downstairs. Fix it.
Take it down and Woody, you can.
He's going in the opposite direction. The first coach went on the other way. You can see the quality that's coming out now. The advantage of this is twofold. That the moisture, if you're in an area of the country where moisture is a problem, this would probably greatly reduce it. It would also mean you possibly could get away without using retarder at all, which would be great as far as not melting canopies or something of that nature. That looks pretty good.
Go to the other bottom flat.
Keep in mind, these colors are relatively difficult to paint, no matter what system you use. Make sure you get that leading edge good too, Dave. Yeah, you can buy these robot finishing friends at a store near you. The Jim Damarel, I know just
5 boxes of Chips Ahoy.
Put it back on. I don't know what that is.
you rubbed it up on something.
I got it on my shirt.
Well, don't worry about it. We have expert finishing friends here. Finishing enemies. I just wish it wasn't 40 degrees out here.
I'm gonna fill
bunch of little pinholes in
Bunch
it,
of holes in it.
and let them go spray some thinner on it. Yeah, don't put any CA. Just go out there, let them put a nice wet coat, and then hold it this way, Woody. So this side is flat.
Oh, they're
Because it...
just thinner? I got it here. You want me to put it on?
No, let him spray it. He's out there spraying now. Just bring
Oh,
out
he's
some.
spraying now.
Now, let's see what the deal is here.
I'm spraying.
What's the deal?
It's tight now.
The motor's tight, but the header's not in the middle of the body. You sure you got the header on? Something's not loose here? Something's loose here, Rich. Look, I'm moving the whole thing.
Yeah, well, I don't have two screws in the back. Wait a minute. I only have 2 screws in the front, just so that you can get dimensions. I'm making a pipe.
Okay, but you're telling me the motor's loose. No, it's loose.
It's not loose. I mean, if it's loose in the back.
Yeah, you don't have the screws tight. The screws are not
Yeah.
tight, period.
Yeah.
That's not tight. That's loose. Yeah, you got 6 more turns is tight.
Yeah, but the point
Even
is,
if it's only 2 screws, tight is tight,
it's
loose
still
is
not going to
loose.
bring the header to the center.
But look at how this is moving. That's terrible.
Yeah,
What's loose here?
Windy. The point is that
Do code 3. I see the guys that are out here already doing it, and I want to give the gun a little test. But it's working amazingly well. Now he's getting used to it. It's just going on like butter, like duck soup.
Flipping it over from a spot to a horizontal fan.
Yeah.
Powdering on a little bit better.
You're more comfortable spraying vertical or horizontal?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It was just on the bench.
Okay. But you can wet coat it. So you can wet coat it even. If you were painting black with this or dark blue or something, Dave, this would be a piece of cake.
That's a hard color.
Yeah, this is a very difficult color.
It's in shadow so quickly.
So far, so good. This is the 3rd coat.
Rather buy one windy than one in the world.
I did the flaps a wet coat just to see how easy this is to use. Let me tell you something, if you can't paint with this system, maybe you shouldn't be painting. This really does take all the guesswork out of painting.
I mean, what do you think we got here? 80% humidity right now?
Oh, more than that. It was raining this morning. It was raining. We still got puddles on the ground over there. No fogging up at all. Now anybody, I don't know, I think, like in a shop like John Brodak's shop where you're painting outdoors where the air isn't fully heated, this might make that you could paint any day of the year, all day long. I don't know. It certainly, it can't get a lot more humid than it is right now without raining. That air coming out hot now, Dave? Warm, okay. But Jimmy said as you let the turbine run, it starts to warm up the air, and that's the advantage.
Plus out here we're sucking cold air too, so.
Very, very interesting. And we're going to have much more about this in the future. The original system was paid for by, and it still belongs to Jim Damarel. He's just letting us borrow it here. The guy that runs this company is supposedly, Jimmy said, a modeler and easy to, explain your needs to, so. If you're interested, hey, give him a holler. Tell him you saw it on Windy Videos, and they'll add $100 to the price. Tell him you know John Brodak, they add $200 to the price. You know Buzz Brodak, they don't sell it to you. What do you got? Yeah, no, you can't do anything with it. Just let it. There's nothing you're going to do about that right now. Not with these colors. If that was black or white, you could put a little CA, but you're not going to get it to match. That's the problem. Still got...
What's that white spot?
Dust.
Okay.
Piece of schmutz. You're wet coating it, Dave? Anyway, I hope this is good information for you. We're going to try to help Rich. Rich is down there sanding his canopy, fill it out, which looked like it was going to be a big problem. back to Rich's project. Rich had a problem where he inadvertently put tissue up into the fillet. There's two mistakes here that are critical. First of all, he's got tissue out onto the fillet, which is an absolute no-no. The tissue should end a good eighth quarter inch from there. He also used spackle in the joint. You never, if there's a big way to capitalize with him, if you fill in a little gouge here with spackle and just rub it with, that's okay. Not the end of the world, not a great idea. But to make a fillet from spackle, you're asking, it's like the kiss of death. So what Dave is doing, Dave's mixing up.
Yeah, you can do that.
Get a good mix on the Epoxy light.
Yeah, you can do that. Take a blade.
And we're going to give Rich a little heads up on making some fillets. This is going to be a Strega type top with all the little filleting there.
There you go.
Epoxy fillet team working hard. Just pack it in because you're trying to fill a little.
Up here.
Keeps is supervising, yeah. You don't have to be. It doesn't have to be real fancy, Rich, because wherever's extra, we'll take it off.
It sands off so nice.
Yeah, I mean, even if you left it just like this, in a matter of 5 minutes, you could sand it off.
It scared me to death. People saying, "Oh, it's just like epoxylizer." That means it doesn't.
Oh,
No, it butters.
nothing like nothing, not even the same. It's unfair to compare the two. Let's go right up around the front of the canopy and everything, right around. Now Dave's using a little different method, and there's obviously 1,000 different kinds of methods. Do just what he's doing with his finger. I prefer doing it with the stick, the screwdriver or stick or whatever.
I would put tape on here so I don't have to sand it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I know.
No, I'm going to show you. You don't need the tape too. I'm going to show you the trick.
Strip it off with M600 or something.
You don't even need M600. I'm telling you.
Rich, the reason I'm doing it thick here is because isn't this...
That's where your patch is. Yeah, we had to make a little
I
patch.
want to lay this in with my foot.
Yeah, it was a problem. We had to make a little patch. Now, how's the B team doing? I mean, the Woody team is detissuizing the plane. Okay, we can't pay attention. Too many projects going on here at once. Peeps, we have bigger fish to fry. Tastes like chicken. What are we going to do with this bird? Okay. Okay, that's all you need to do, Rich. Yeah. Well, you don't want to start, fooling around, but just take the prop. If you hold the prop up straight,
Where did
what
he,
part are you up to?
Where did he end?
Right.
Do the whole thing. Do the back here, Dave.
I already did it.
Okay, but go on the rudder too. There's a little spot he missed. You see what he's doing? Now there's two little ridges. Take the razor, Rich, like I showed you. See the little razor?
Right.
And just take out everything from the top
Below the razor mark.
and wipe it each time you do it. Done. Look at this. Done. Next, you could do it with tape. That's another method. I think Bobby Hunt wrote about that in Flying Models years ago when they were doing epoxylite fillets, and it was murder to sand. But even if you left this on here, it sands. I don't think it sands any different than regular balswood. Just go right down the fillet, and then go to the top.
See that?
I learned something
Here,
today.
even back here, Dave, take the prop and give him a wipe back here, back on the
Where do you want it?
by the rudder fillet. He's got a little spot.
There was a rudder.
There was a ratty spot back there. And when you're all done, I bet you don't have 2 grams of stuff on there. That stuff is extremely light.
I didn't like that.
We just saved you again from this person you are.
That's why I'm here.
I know.
Because I know that you know.
That's right.
You are the person that knows all.
El Mundo tells all, knows all.
The head round.
Oh, but you're going to be, see, now you could actually go down and show Gene Martin how to make a fillet. Because, boy, he has the sloppiest fillets I've ever seen on that
You're
plane.
the last guy we need here.
Oh, if we had Martin here,
Well, let me tell you.
the last time Martin was here, I was chasing my tenant around with a pipe wrench.
now?
What's this?
He's just right there.
You gotta watch, he's on the floor sometime. DJ, you keep
that
a...
piece of paper.
He wants, he's got the silk span. He's got Woody's, what are you gonna do, do the whole wing wood? Yep. Okay. You want to leave it on the cap strips, by the way. You know that, right?
He got it.
Okay.
Turn around, Vinny.
He's got Dave's tissue paper.
He's got a piece of paper.
He's got a piece of silk span. Bird, you're going to Brodax.
That bird is
Buzz Brodak is going to serve you to the troops.
Do you know that? That bird is incredible.
That bird loves you, Rich.
Talking about a piece of silk span in his cage?
Yep.
He knows you're an animal lover, Rich. An Epoxy animal lover. trick when you do this is you don't want to cut the tissue off this. You did right. That's good.
Just go ahead.
That's it. You got it. That's it. Because you want to sand. You want to do the whole wing in one piece, just like it was a new wing. Anything other than that, if you're going to see the seams.
They're nice and well tailored.
All right. So as soon as he's done with his Aero Bird fillets over there, we'll see if we can do some repair work on this guy. This guy needs some extensive repair work.
It isn't too bad now. It's coming along.
Okay. Well, we got the A-team here.
It's got possibilities.
We got Peeps and the A-team, so probably take us twice as long to do it. Woody, you realize this might be an infraction of the builder of the bird rule.
There you go.
This might be an infraction. I might have to report this. I might have to report this to the AMA as an infraction of the builder of the bird rule. Oh man, Woody, I'm calling Tom Morris right now. We could rent this bird out by the hour.
Get the piece out of there fast enough for him.
All right, so Rich, you got perfect fillets here. Get the plane out of here so we can go to work. Come on, we got to make a living. Get this piece of junk out of here.
Oh boy, oh
Man.
boy, somebody can
Put the bird in the cage so we can get Richard out of here.
boy.
Persona non grata. Birdo non grata.
Fortunately, my shoulders are big enough and wide enough to take all of this nonsense.
But really, you know what's a shame is that you did put this down. That's going to look really...
Yeah, they're not gonna even see it.
And I put some epoxy light up on the front. And that fillet, just sand it in. Back here you should put some. Why don't you put some back here? What the hell are you doing? What do you go?
I thought Dave was doing it.
Midgley, who's in charge of this side of the rudder?
I didn't know you needed anything.
Oh, man. Gouge that paper out of it.
Told me you needed.
See how he had that paper and spackle and all that gubberagachi? Get that out of there. Take the sanding block. Get that out of there.
I thought Dave, what'd you do?
No one told me you needed that.
Rich, it has to do with how much you're paying them. I think there's a relationship. When you pay minimum wage, you get less than minimum work.
When you guys were doing it.
And this is like minimum wage. You lock him up because we got to get rid of Jacobone. He's clogging up the pipeline here. Man, days when you weren't here, we used to get so much done, Rich. It's just unbelievable.
Are you listening to this, Woody?
Yeah, I hear you.
You hear me?
Oh man, take your Strega and get out of here. Put some epoxy light in there. Team still has a little energy before we do the next coat of paint. How old is this plane, Dave? 92?
It was built in 91.
91. This had the original Midgley tune pipe in it. Okay, now the problem is he's rebuilt the nose, he's rebuilt the body, the whole plane's being rebuilt. And in doing it, if you look at the wood, I mean, you can take your fingernail here and see there's oil. It's oil soaked. So what we're going to do is make a if we try to put a plywood former in here, what will happen is there's no footprint area. It's not going to hold. So we're going to make a wide balsa, and then we're going to drill holes in through the corner and put toothpicks in here so that we make kind of a furniture joint, something a little better. So whenever you get done, let's make this nose piece.
Let's do it now.
Okay, let's make up a pattern for that piece. And I'm guessing like 3/8 balsa would be my first choice. We made a piece of 3/8 balsa with 64th plywood on each side. Triangle stock, because we have what we're trying to do is gain a footprint here so that this is rigid. Now, last thing, he's going to dress this off. We're going to drill holes the diameter of a toothpick and show some toothpicks in there. How's the A-team doing over here, Woody?
Oh, it just takes time.
Okay, time to back. Okay, put that aside and we'll backmask the next color here.
Matter of fact, I was going to call the new plane T-Rex.
Unfortunately, Dave did not do the correct backmasking that Jimmy did, so he's on his knees paying homage to Jimmy for the correct.
That was the right way to do it.
So we have to now double backmask the plane.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Okay. All right, so far so good. You guys are on good mode. These sticky eyes the tape, re-backmask. We'll be ready for the next color. I can't wait. It's time to mix the rocket fuel here. Walt Prey protege, Dave Midgley mixing. As we watch a great video from Bill Rutherford showing his flying field down in Houston and his home, his shop. We're really on the road to success here, baby. We're about ready to mask. We got everything back masked here. Up to snuff. One more piece of tape on that. Dave Midgley, known for his exotic, absolutely exotic World Championship paintwork.
This one's paint scheme by committee here.
Okay, now before this is going any further, the name Dave has assigned to the carbon wing plane. We were going to call it the mirror image, but it's now the carbon copy. You're so unique in all the world. Oh, so cute, so cute.
That 3 weeks ago, then we did.
Carbon copy.
It just came to me.
After it hits the ground, there'll be carbon paper.
That's right, after the carbon paper. Most of the afternoon watching Bill Rutherford's video. Now we feel like we live in Houston. Let's see what he's got going on. It's getting ready to rain. He's back doing another color, a second color of pink. What's the name of this color, Dave? Dave Midgley. Carbon pink.
Tastes good too.
Oh, looks like the boss is here. Uh-oh. She caught us spraying. Da-da-da-da-da. Spray paint. Let's see how this is going. What's it going like? You got a wide fan there, don't you? That kind of wide, Dave, or that the way you want it? The fan.
I like it.
Okay, no, I'm just asking you. It doesn't matter.
Go back to the spot.
This is a very bright one. It's got the third color, bright color pink.
How's that?
Well, whatever you're more comfortable with.
Because this has got to be multi-coats.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is like painting it with red dye or something. Laying out nice. It's a bright enough color. Woody, if you miss a bottom with this plane, the judges at Tucson are going to see it. Bill Rutherford's going to see it. Yeah, you left the spot there. The cover's nice. What happens with this stuff if you put more toner in it? Just gets too dark? I got the one.
I got it now.
And what we've been doing is Jimmy's leaving his car running with the heater on, and we're drying it.
You don't even have...
It's at 130 degrees inside that car. We read the thermometer at 130.
I haven't done that yet. I know I gotta get that.
All right.
I like the color.
That is nice. That's going to be a good match for the darker color. And then he's going to take the bright green, the Kawasaki green little diamonds in there. Lemon lime green. Oh, that's working nice. Flip it, yeah. So actually I shouldn't complain. It's been a busy day, but we've certainly gotten a lot done. You want to go out on a tip where the lead-outs were. There's a little bit of...
What?
You need tape?
It?
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Let me
Wait,
get a
go
piece.
grab some tape.
I just got to run a piece of tape here. All right, Turbine King. That's really looking good. Really impressed with how nice this lays down. Yeah, you can really feather it in nice. You know what this would be good for? Doing a camo job. You know, where you want to blend in the camo green and the cows.
Probably good for house painting, for textured walls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Feathers in so nice.
Well, certainly, we've learned something new today. Every day, something new.
Dustin's edges with black.
120 degrees. Oh man, this is what's known as the Larry Scarinzi drying oven. Formerly patented by Larry Scarinzi.
Someone want to go to the other door, because I'm not sure I'm getting...
Yeah, go.
Somewhere.
Go ahead, I got the gun. Make my day. Now we're coming up with, we're sick and tired of these Buttafuoco Stunt Team t-shirts, so we're going to come up with SST. SST is the Soprano Stunt Team. And our motto is, we never lose. Oh, look at these guys. I'm telling you. Nobody can accuse us of being bonzos.
No, I got one finger straight about.
Okay, what we're doing, not using a drill, we're using a pointed Dremel bit. Let me see the bit so you can... Comes to a point. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put some epoxy in there and then hammer in some toothpicks. When that's done, that'll be good and solid. And when you have oil-soaked wood, this is the only way I know of to repair oil-soaked wood. And we're not so sure this is going to work either. The day you fly this plane for the first time, it'll be like an old friend. It'll be just like Strago or Tradition. Any of them have been whacked. They only get better with age. Video of Bill Rutherford's P51, Al Raby P51.
I thought it was Al Rabe.
Ladies, corrected Windy.
If this were a carbon fiber fuselage, repairing it would be no problem at all, but because it's oil-soaked wood, it just gets to be difficult. Mixing up the epoxy, Dave? I don't know of any other way you could seriously make plywood. I don't know how else you could do that. That's
going nowhere.
I think that's the pinning it and all the other stuff. All right, you got the little hammer. Put some epoxy on them and just hammer away. Put plenty of epoxy in the hole too.
First, yeah. Drive it ahead of you.
Drive it ahead of you. Anybody doesn't know, Rudy used to be a, what would we call your trade, a carpenter?
I don't know.
Cabinet maker?
I don't have the slightest, something like that.
Gamblers Anonymous? Yeah. How did we make a living years ago during the Depression?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It wasn't too bad.
Oh, here's VSC. Now we're into V. This Bill Rutherford's an okay guy. I don't care what Al Raby says about him. That's pretty good. Let me know if there's anything good on that VSC tape. Tap, tap, tap. Yeah, bucket. There you go. Just hammer it in. Well, I'll tell you that, Windy. No, that's far enough. Where are you going, to China? Put on plenty of epoxy ahead of you. This tip brought to you by Windy the Furniture Maker. There you go. Tap away. People say I don't know what I'm doing. And they're right. Peeps is taking his annual Bill Rutherford bath here. Are we taking a bath, Peeps? Taking a little bath? Hey, chickadooey. Now watch, Jimmy, the first one he flies to when he gets out of that ice-cold water, first one he flies to, they'll tell you who he loves the most. Go to Jimmy. Go to Jimmy. Go to Jimmy. Go, he's all wet. Go.
Go to mommy.
Go to Jimmy. You can use the carbon cowl. Is that the triplane?
Yeah.
Cool.
He's a nut.
He's a nut. That's, what a comment to make! Just because he likes triplanes? Let's see, what do you got going on here?
You gotta put a whole new bottom on.
Well, you're gonna put this piece on anyway, and you gotta make a block for here. You may as well make this piece that you can put your cowl mounts. And if you want, carve a block. It's up to you. You know, it's easy. You decide which is the easier of the two things here. You got both choices. You figure it out. I already sent you. Some of this, and we see, of course, what I really want to see is the Rutherford's Lady Mustang. There it is.
Rick Campbell's father found it in Chicago, and it was all yellow from Rockwell Tool Company. Looked nice. Had a Fox 40. The controls were one of these.
Triangle. Here's your chance for 5 seconds. I think there's a band in the slide because of the wind.
hanging on. No. It doesn't do good to try to dry that stuff. No, you just twist it and just... Management assessment. It's not always, but sometimes the air here seems to split into two parts. And you can get 30 or 40 degrees and wow. And it's like it's coming from 45 degrees, 45 degrees
thanks to Bill Rutherford for that footage and other footage. We have some great fun. That was, instead of the way we were, this is going to be the way VSC was. And that was Keith Trossels flying his Gulfhawk Orange Al Raby Bearcat. Okay, let's see what you got, Jimmy. Now he's bringing us, this is obviously a little tri-square made out of a kind of a carbon fibery little injected molded material. Little baby clamps.
Very light. I mean, if you're holding two pieces of balsa together.
Right, it doesn't bring it down with the weight.
And this is the smallest. They go up to about 4 inches in here.
Yeah. They look nice.
This is something you could actually get a few of and make a fuselage jig out of, because that could be set anywhere on.
Right. You know what I saw a guy did? He took 2 tri-squares. Did you see that in the magazine?
No.
You take this, and you know how you have a piece on here?
Right.
And he put 2 of them on, one on each side. And then just glued 6 of them to the bench. And for like $20, you can use the plastic ones.
Right.
You got a fuselage jig. Draw a center line and use those. Great idea.
Same deal with this.
Yeah, that's a great idea, yeah.
Put it wherever you need it.
Right, lock it right in. You can glue it, hot stuff it to the table if you have to. Nice little jigs.
Yeah, this is,
Yeah, light stuff. Anyway, we've done 10 projects today. The last coat of dope is out in the car drying. And that's probably going to be the end of day 1 of the big Midgley repair and paint work. Now, how great is video? Here we are. It's only a week after VSC. We have video, thanks to Bill Rutherford. And hey, here we are. Something to take the edge off a day that we had a lot of projects to work on. We've played his tape about 22 times. Between Milosevic and Rutherford, life's a ball.
On the airplane, Keith Trossel, his Bearcat, has a jet 50 in it, and it made front row. So I think he was like next to best he said. Absolutely stunningly fantastic airplane. Detail it as always. Very high Keith Trossel standard. Keith, why wouldn't you pick it up? I like to show that bottom cowling. It's just a work of art. And here we go. The jet engine, he's got the, look at all the work that went into that. What are those made out of, Keith?
64-inch ply.
64 ply.
Done like an egg crate and or egg carton.
This is where you can tell the quality of a model is in the seam to the tiling, and look at this. It's just perfect from one end to the other. It's got a little scoop here for his putting the fuel in. Looks like the fuel in down there.
Yeah, what that paint does that. That's got second or third generation. Those yellow stripes go away.
It was hard work there. He did a nice job on that.
So this side looks better.
It's a stunning airplane. You know, it was really beautiful work.
And you can pick up the...
And there's a movable rudder. Let me get down here to ground level so you can see it.
Neutral. Upsides. Neutral. Insides.
And it's all done internally with a slider out coming off of the fuel control horn. He's got a little hatch on the side. Right there. And look at the really exquisite workmanship there. A little bulge for room, and it just looks like it's part of it. Three screws hold it in. It's a beautiful example of top part of the workmanship is. What does she weigh?
60 ounces.
60 ounces.
And
beautiful. Now there's your tip plate. Is that mat reacted age? Beautiful. Thank you so much, Keith. Appreciate it. And how many points did you get?
18.
18. So there you have it. That's what top quality is all about. So this gives all of us something to strive for. We've got a 13.6 APC, depending on it. And we've got it's still squeaky at the top on the Jet 50. Beautiful airplane. Thank you, Mr. Russell. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
You notice that really neat the detailing on Keith's plane and the shading, which we're doing a similar thing. But that's a spectacular model, and again and again and again. Bill, we've watched the tape all day. I gotta tell you, we're gonna wear your tape out. Great. I appreciate the little interview with Keith. I've interviewed him several times. I love his models, and needless to say, they are world class. And we hope, we hope we're gonna see him at the Nats most of all. All that little shading we did on the previous tape, I can't wait to see this once we get the clear on. But the weather is not cooperating, so we're basically working on Dave and Rudy's, the two planes we have in the shop right now. Our former has worked out pretty well. That's pretty rigid. The toothpick thing has worked out. Now what we did is laminated up some cross grain, C grain. Where's the other one? Oh, here. And we had to put quite an angle on it because we want to put the original V deflector back in there. And we're going to do this with slow drying epoxy. This will be the last thing of the night. And then we'll be off for Chinese food. Chinese food and indigestion.
You ought to go get the...
Okay, drop one in, and then we'll pin it. You want to get a nice... It's important because these are going to joints that work. And just see what your footprint looks like. Can you get a good footprint on there? Put them both in, then we can go around them with a little toothpick or something.
Right before you. Here, use this one.
Decals on your airplane, I don't think.
Okay, we got Lyle Larson entertaining us now, building a pylon racer on screen. Former world champion Lyle Larson, producer of high-quality pylon kits. All right.
I guess the other thing is not just...
On a pylon tape, he uses an ordinary Sharpie marker, but they coat it with some kind of different finish. They don't use dope or lacquer. I think they use, what do you use, epoxy, Jim?
Epoxy or urethane.
Epoxy or urethane, and they just use a Sharpie marker on the tail. Think of all the work we put into that. Ay, ay, ay. Got done with those inclines on the Typhoon. I was so happy. Day 2 of the carbon copy. And we got the, I don't know what we got going on here. We're doing some black stripes around all the edges. They were working on this before I got up this morning, so. But these colors really do, I don't know if you're going to see this in the video, but the colors really that he mixed really came out nice. He's mixed a real light lavender for the whole plane, so what we're going to try to do is after breakfast backmask the whole plane. And possibly even, it's not raining yet, even though we don't hold out any hope. We may get the whole base of the plane painted today. No guarantee though. When the A-team hasn't had its coffee, things are really in slow motion this morning, boy. You just never know. You're just backmasking out everything that already is painted. He's got you being a tape man, Woody?
Oh yeah.
Mr. Tape Man.
Tack man.
That stripe under the body's a bitch, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, we got a problem up here.
Phone time. Now we have all the backmasking done, the paint is mixed, and it's pouring rain, so we lost the battle of let's see if we can get this done today. We're going to do some mechanical work, the rest. Now what did you, last night you started carving up a new cowl?
Oh, I put on.
And you did the
deflector, put
the
the bottom
V-deflectors, okay. So this looks like, this is all we're really going to get done today with the rain.
That'll be about it.
Alright, we'll finish carving up the cowl, that's all.
Which is okay.
Yeah. Some days you win, some days it rains. Had it not rained, this would be ready for the next time you see this, we'll be at the flying field. It'll be finished. Dave's going to take it home and finish it, but I think it's going to be fun. This is our first test carbon fiber wing and tail and elevator and flap, landing gear and real pant plane.
Oh yeah, it's got a curve. I didn't know it was built that way.
Dave's already got the last little bit of time we have. He's hollowing out the cowl. And to be honest with you, this is why I like fiberglass cowls. This is the part of it I don't miss at all. The end of the great cowl carving Midgley weekend comes to a crashing end as we clean up the shop, but hey, that's the way it is when you're a Midgley Meister. Good weekend, Dave. So in the end of the great adventure, the great Midgley weekend, the weatherman won. As he can do from time to time. Midgley has not been going to church on time, and therefore it rained on his parade, so a valuable lesson. As the last time we say goodbye to the carbon copy, the famous, now infamous. Rainy weather did not deter us. But we didn't luck out on this weather today.
No.
But, hey, it's life in the Big Apple. Someday it's fun to be windy, and someday it's very rainy. Even Ingolf Stevenson from Norway couldn't stop the rain. With his 747, he just couldn't stop the rain.
They brought it in.
He promised me if he flew in from Norway, there'd be no rain. He lied. The last time he's ever invited for donuts at Wendy's. That's it, baby. Well, we had a really great visit. I really had a great time with Dave and Woody. Now, one of the reasons I like to help both of those guys is they tend to give it back to the event. Dave has helped really hundreds of people so far. As far as I can tell, even at the Nats, he's always available for some help. Anyway, we're ready to shoot clear on this, and there's only one minor problem as I do a little walk around here looking for anything I might have missed. Problem is they're predicting rain the next 4 or 5 days, so what I'm going to do, and maybe I'll do a little storyboard of this just to make it easier. I always like to do a little test and then go have a cup of coffee for a half an hour and wait and see if the paint blushes. So either a cowling or a tip weight box or something. And if I see it isn't blushing in a half an hour, then I know I don't have to add retarder. But if I do have to add retarder, and keep in mind, I always have retarder in the shop, because in this environment that we work in, you never know when you're going to need some. You just never know. But the first test is to see if you need any retarder in the mix. But before I do it, I'll do a little storyboard, because we're going to put the clear on this plane selectively. We're not just going to paint the whole plane. And for people that haven't followed years and years and years of these crazy windy videos, doing it selectively is the thing that makes it... Hey, Bird, what are you... This bird is singing like a crazy man here. Putting the finish on selectively is what allows it to be lightweight and still have the high gloss, all at the same time. Now, I've said this before, and it's been on other videos, but it's worth a couple of minutes of review. When I put the clear on a plane, up to the point that we put the clear on, you've got a certain amount of things like coverage of the colors, the lighter colors, the electro sets, certain things that all have to be done in sequence. But when you get to the clear coats, you have a lot of choices. There's some of my basic do's and don'ts. And the first thing is, the first coat has to go dry. For absolutely important that you don't load the first coat up. This is why today we're waiting. If it's too humid, we're not going to do this. We're just going to wait for another day. Now, just as an example, the first coat of clear that we put on here, anywhere there's an ink line, I'm going to set, and I'm going to use my Iwata, the high-end spray gun, fan it way down so I get just a coat on all the ink lines. Anywhere there's a paint edge, and I'll get 3, 4, 5 coats anywhere there's an edge. This is called selective finishing. This is the way I've managed to get my finishes to weight way down, and they still seem good enough to either get in the front row or win the concourse, or in some cases just be a nice looking plane. So the first coat, and this is a dry coat, a 50-50 coat, and absolutely the minimum, if any, retarder. Now, one of the biggest questions, of course, most people want to know is, in the olden days, using other materials, you'd put a gallon on. Well, with Brodak, I've found the last 2 or 3 finishes I've done with about a quarter clear, a quarter thinner, and a maximum of 10% retarder. That means I have a little over 2 quarts of material going on the plane. And of course, if you sand through a few spots, or if you for some reason have some other reason you can't live without, but I wouldn't put a whole lot more than this on. I don't think you need more than that. In the old days of putting a gallon of stuff on, it just got so labor intensive and crazy, all that sanding. This amount of material on a full-size plane, I think, is plenty, if you're very careful. And maybe add 10% to the amount of material if you're kind of, sloppy. Good tip if you have a plastic canopy. You want to get 2 or 3 coats dry. No more than 50-50 on the mix, and no retarder at all. Now, even if you're using retarder on the rest of the plane, avoid going over the cockpit until you can go over it with having no retarder in the paint, and do it dry. Never put a big wet coat right on the cockpit. It'll melt it. You can put as much as you want on, but put it on very dry. Same thing with the ink lines. When you're doing the ink lines, you don't want to have a big electro sets. You want the first 2 or 3 coats just as dry as possible. The big one that most people don't understand. Most people think you're going to have an even coat of clear over the whole plane. Like as if you took saran wrap or monocoat. It would be the same thickness everywhere. Now, what I find is I'd rather have 2/3 of it on the top surfaces, where you have the most ultraviolet, you have the most people touching it and seeing it and scratching it, and the 1/3 on the bottom. It'll still be shiny, it'll still be pleasant, but if I'm going to carry that extra 1/3 amount, I want it where it's going to do the most good. Just like if you were going to sand. If you're going to spend an hour sanding, spend an hour sanding things that you're going to see, not the inside of the wheel pants or the inside of the tank compartment. This way you get the most bang for the buck. It's just a little bit different for a take-apart plane. You've got to kind of improvise. But I'm going to do this as if you did not have a take-apart plane. If I take a quarter clear, a quarter thinner. Mix it in a big jar, coffee can or whatever. And this is now 50-50. I've got a mixture here. I'm going to go do a little test outside. I'm going to take a cowling, a wingtip weight box. I'm going to run a test. If it fogs over, then I can take up to 10% retarder, add it to the mix, do the test again. If it still fogs up, then I wait. I'm not going to try to push it. I mean, I've put probably 500 to 600 hours into this plane already, and maybe another 100 before it's ready to go. This formula, now if you have a plane that's not a take-apart plane, once you get this amount and you're comfortable with this, the only problem is if you have this retarder in here, I'd not want to go over my ink lines and canopies and things that might melt. I'd want to do that on a day that you didn't have to add any retarder to it. And that's a really, really important point to make. A good way to do this is you take that amount of material after you do all the edges and ink lines and divide it into 3 jars. Just put 3 jars that are similar. Put the same amount of material in each jar. This is like the poor man's way of doing it. Take 1/3 of it and put it on the bottom, and take 2/3 and spray it on the top. Usually when I'd have a one-piece plane, what I do is turn the plane over first and spray the bottom. Let it dry. Give it an hour, 2 hours, whatever amount of time it takes to dry. Then turn the plane over and put the 2/3 on the top. Always good to let each coat dry with Brodak dope. An hour is usually enough, but in a warm day, 2 hours on a cool day. Today's a very cool day. It's about 40 degrees. But we're still, if you get the combination of all of this technology, will result in about a 7 or an 8 ounce finish that really is nice, and the plane doesn't come out tail heavy, and it's still fuel proof, and it's not so labor intensive to do that you'll wind up becoming an alcoholic before you get the plane buffed out. Those are just some of the tips, and we'll try to get some more as we go along. Here's some other little things, and I'm just trying to recall as many as I can. We were trying to paint, I try to remember how long ago, 2 or 3 years ago, we were trying to paint somebody's plane here in the shop, and it wasn't even a rainy day. And everything was fogging up, and I said, gee, what's the relative humidity? I called up airport weather, and they said it was like 61%. Should be no problem at all. And so I really got frustrated, and then I realized, I know what step I left out. I forgot to bleed the moisture out of the tank, and what had happened is the last time I was using a compressor was during a day that there was a lot of humidity in the air, and the whole tank was half full of water. So the first thing before I go anywhere is I want to make sure the gun is clean, and then I have all the humidity out of the tank. Another thing too, years ago I used to spray maybe 2 coats a day for a week. Well, now with Brodak, I can usually do almost all of it in 1 or 2 days. And really, if you had warmer weather, drier weather, you probably could put it all on in 1 day. But then I like to get all right up to the last coat or 2 and then wet sand everything with 1200, and that's what gives it that nice, really crisp finish. And I like to then at that point in time see if there's any other touch-up spots I need to do. Now again, another big saving, giant saving, the fact I can take this plane apart and paint it. I'm going to save a lot of time, because if I had to hold this in my hand and go outside and paint it right now, it's a difficult one-man job, and you're always touching it and holding it in bad places. The take-apart feature is, right now, you just hit the cash register and it pays dividends. Now what I always try to do is pick a little part, like any of these little parts. I'll spray it, I'll give myself a good half hour, and if it doesn't fog over, I know I probably can get away the rest of the day. The driest part of the whole day is about from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the window I'd like to get this first coat on if possible. Again, because I'm going to be trying to seal up, and just sealing up these lines and get a nice dry coat on the cockpit. Get out of here, you're not going to paint this bird in 1 minute. All my ink line work. So let me get ready and do a little test. We don't have a sunny day out there. This is not really a good day, but We're going to hope we can get away, and if we can't, we're going to throw in the towel and wait. Part like this, like a tip weight box cover or a little landing gear cover, if it fogs up, it won't be a big deal. By the way, it's always good if you have a part that tip weight box cover. If you put an extra coat of clear on it, it's not really going to matter. It's on the bottom of the plane. Now see, I don't have the gun adjusted right. Because this is 50-50. There's no retarder in this at all. There we go. Now let me just get, let's see if you can, hard to see this. See, I'm kind of dark out here, in fact. See if I can see the reflection I'm looking for. Now I'll do a couple of the little parts, give them a half hour to dry, and hope the sun comes out. The one that we don't care if it really fogs up. I want 2 or 3 little test parts. Boy, I love that Keith Struggle Bearcat, boy. That is a beauty. He had these on with ink. I don't know if you can see in there. They were just inked on. There weren't any real parts on there. What a work of art. Another thing, too, he used was Robart, those hinge points, or whatever they call them. Go back and look at that part of the video a couple of times. Midgley's jaw was on the floor when he was looking at that. We were all so jealous of each other, it's terrible. So far, so good. Which usually means later today, everything's going to fog up. It looks like we're going to get away, at least up to this point in time, with having no retarder in this first coat, and no retarder in the first coat is a major gain. Well, I hope this is our lucky day. So far, so good. I notice I'm doing the edges of the part first. All the edges get done. All the little ink lines will get an extra coat. All the fogged in edges. And then I'll just give 1 coat to everything. So where there are lines and rivet heads and things, there'll actually be 2 coats. And again, I'm trying to put this on very dry with very low pressure. Try to get it to spray at 20 psi if you can. And if we can get away with getting this whole first coat on with notice I'm not doing the canopy first. That'll be the last thing. If I don't see anything fogging up in the next half an hour or so. But the minute I see even more than a half hour, the minute I see it, the slightest hint of anything fogging up, what I'll do is I'll go put 10% retarder. I've already got it pre-mixed in a jar, so I know how much to mix it in, and get out and shoot another coat right over that fogged out area to release the moisture. It looks like, and in cold weather like today, it's about 41 degrees, 41 degrees, the paint really does lay down nice. You can see that's the first coat. I wanted to see, now I'm past the basic parts, I wanted to see some of the shaded parts, how this shading was going to pop. I call it pop for lack of a better word. All the edges. this case, there's so much ink on this part that just pays to paint the whole part. Again, this is very dry mix. 50-50 is about as dry as I can ever spray. Now, right in the middle of putting a clear on, I know you'll recognize my friend George Venturini. You might not recognize this woman. She's Ruth Gruber, who wrote the book, The Exodus. And George had, and of course George is one of our people that's in the shop virtually every day. He painted this picture of the Exodus and donated it to a person who we both know, Nat Nadler, who was the electrician on the Exodus, who he then donated it to this woman, Ruth Gruber. And they had a little function to honor George. And he, needless to say, is one of my best friends. And I thought I'd just put this on a video. George, one of George's mandated things, once his wife recovers from some health problems she has, we are going to paint the ceiling in the Spitfire bedroom with a rear scene in clouds and bombs and whatever. But he was very highly honored. And George, I have to tell you, I can't wait till we work on that bedroom. It's quite an honor. He got to, he's going to have this painting will be on display in the museum in Haifa. So I guess in his own way, he's a celebrity. And I don't know how to say it, but because my wife is Jewish, we kind of have a little bit of an insight into the problems of Israel. And this was just a rare honor. And so, George, congratulations. And I don't know what to say. You're a man among men in my book. And we have pretty much abandoned shooting clear today because it's raining already. And we're just not having the kind of luck we should have. So better to wait and live to fight another day. We finally had our dream come true. The rain has stopped. The sun is out. And I did a little test and it looks like nothing's flushing. And what this means is I'll be able to get the whole first amount of clear. You can see the wind is blowing plenty. I'll get this whole first coat of clear. And what I'll do is each time I put another coat on, I'll add a little bit of thinner into the mix, just a little bit. This I want to go on dry though. It's so important to get the first couple of coats on dry. And little by little up the thinner mix. Watch out for melting that canopy. Now each time I put a little thinner in the mix too, I can reduce the pressure a couple of pounds so that each coat will lay on flatter and flatter and flatter. I want to get all the edges. The wind is really blowing out here. You can see the flappage. A sailboat. Whoa. But it was worth it waiting because had we painted at 9, 10 o'clock this morning, I'm sure we would have had a problem. If in doubt, always wait. I know if we're just getting lucky here, but now see, here's the case where I'm really glad I waited it out because boy, if I had put all the paint on this morning and had blushing to deal with here, oh man. If in doubt, just wait. And in this kind of weather, boy, as soon as the sun comes out, it seems like it pulls all the moisture out of the air. It's so easy when it's a take-apart plane. This is really funny. Now see, here's what I want to get. I want to get extra wherever there's a lot of ink and paint. Anywhere there's going to be paint edges, get a little bit extra. Be real selective about it. Be real careful getting it on the cockpit. On a carbon fiber fuselage, you don't have to worry about fuel proofing inside. It's fuel proof as you make it. I want to get a little bit extra up on the nose. This is always a spot that always takes some kind of a beating. It's Anaheim time. The Windstar parked in the sun, everything will be dry in there in an hour or so, and we could bring it in the house. As day one ends, we got about 3 coats. I think we got 2 coats on some surfaces, 3 on others, but pretty much everything's sitting here waiting to dry. We'll see how it dries up tomorrow. And mostly we'll see if we can get some sunshine going. Oh, day 2 of putting the clear on. It looks like it's going to be Anaheim today. Oh. Day. Oh, man. To get this out. We are ready now. What I always do, second day of clear, I put more thinner in the gun. I've cut back the pressure a little bit. So this should really start to lay down. As you thin the paint, it'll lay down better and better, but you don't want to do that on the first coat. And in this weather here, we can let everything dry outside. We don't even need to heat it. Look at that, that's laying down now. 2 days into it and we got a nice gloss finish already. Just amazing. Wonder, this is what it must be like to live in an area of the country where you can paint all the time. Hey, you want to avoid the temptation to put too much thinner into where it's just going to soften up the paint. I think we're at a pretty good mix right now from the way this is laying down. Anyway, when the weather's nice like this, we don't even have any really breeze blowing today. Holy mackerel. I want to get extra around all the areas where there's ink, edges. Now it's really starting to lay down now. You can get some idea even on day 2. And if the weather holds up, 1 day from now we'll have really the bulk of this on. Now I'm looking at this piece and I have a little spot I need to touch up. I guess I put my finger in it or something. But that's what's nice about those little airbrush edges. That'll touch up. I'm sure you won't even see it when it's done. Oh, to live in a part of the country where you never had to deal with bad weather. Oh my gosh. But then you wouldn't be tough. That's the advantage. The advantage of living here is you get mean and tough. And it's of no value at all. Let's see how this guy's laying down. I really like the way these colors show up in the sun, with the fading and the fogging. And 2 days into it, now we haven't done any sanding at all, and this is already laying down really nice. From being a flying day. And a couple of days ago when we checked the weather, it's 5 days of rain or 5 possible days of rain. But they didn't know the power of Brodexo. Able to change the weather. Anyway, from this point on, we'd like to get all the coats to lay down. like to see almost no or very little overspray. Extra on the edges. See, now Brookins calls that 5 coats. What I do is I coat it until I see it's shiny. In this case, there's still some little dull spots. And Bob, of course, is a master painter, but we have some little different techniques. And what's real nice about this so far is we don't have a drop of retarder in here yet. So that means we should get real quick dry time. And when it comes up to the time to sand it and buff it, we should be in the driver's seat. You can see the reflection of the tree there. Anyway, that stuff is laying down nice now. But most of it is due to the good weather. And Brodak dope being such a high quality product. I try to look at each piece to see that it's laying down the way I want it to. That I have the gloss factor that I want. I think that's going to really work. Because we're coming up on the end of this video, we're probably just going to shoot clear the rest of this video. We've done a lot of painting in the last week. A lot done in the last week in terms of trying out some new spray equipment, finishing up the carbon copy. Love that name. Getting some of the clear on here. Really excited because we're coming down to what amounts to be. Maybe a couple of weeks from now we'll be flying it. We already have our new Zetron. We already have all the new electronics. It's really just the paint and the buffing. When I used to paint with John DeTavio used to always say the paint talks to him. Today's the kind of day it's talking to me. Not sure what it's saying, but it's talking. Anyway, it's laying down nice, and we're not even a third of the way through the amount of clear we're going to put on here, so this is only going to get better. Love looking at those tree reflections. This tape doesn't end clean for, you don't know where it's going to end. I want to get as much spray footage on. It seems like people, they pick up things and I don't know how to even help them sometimes. And they just look at it and go, oh, you hold it with a blade. Oh, you do this or you do that or you know, whatever. I don't really know. Anyway, what I do know is, look at this side. Never get on the right side here. I don't know what's going on. All I know, guys, is spring is coming. The Typhoon is going to be typhooning very soon. I almost can't sleep at night thinking about it. Hope Brownell's Typhoon is coming out. Where I hope you really do get some good information for painting your plane. Seems like that's one of the areas I'm able to help a lot of people a lot of the time. Extra on the edges. Ooh, that looks like that flap is getting loose. Oh, and the paint talks to you. Oh, it is a lovely thing. Talk to me, paint. See some tree reflections here. Oh, yeah. I think that's wild. I didn't plan it that way, but it is kind of cool. Can we see them this way? Yeah, you can see them both sides. Anyway, again, please share the tapes with your friends. Share them with your enemies. Share them with everybody. We want to keep this event going as long as we possibly can. Anyway, one of the things I kind of liked was the simulated hinges. I'm going to try to include that in on some other models in the future. Even straight line stunners. That kind of gave it a nice realistic look. The shading. I didn't know if I was going to really like the shading until I put the clear on. I like it, which probably means they'll have somebody judging appearance that thinks it's disgusting. They'll have to look high and low for that person, but they'll find them. Trust me. Anyway, then I moved my hand out. I was trying to show how I hold a flap. That's a little bit of a pain to do a flap. Anyway, it looks like there's really going to be a future for that HVLP system. Anybody's got 800 bucks, just go buy one and send it to me. I won't hold my breath. Anyway, that poor old compressor of mine has been grinding away for a lot of years. What a day this turned out to be. I should be flying. It's like jumping on a motorcycle and going for a ride. Can't see the trees. I can't turn it up. It falls down. I'm only holding it by the wire. That's one of the little things I wanted to show. Look at this in the sunshine. Oh my God. What a day we've got. Hope I can get a lot of the clear on today. Actually get some paint up around the canopy too. We've got enough drying done on that. Only that first day that you really don't want to get anything up there. Anyway, we're going to get the rest of this clear on. We're going to try like heck to get this on today, in fact. What a day. I guess there's a message in there. When you get a good day, use it. Call in sick. See, this is a part of it a lot of people don't understand is you got to get the paint to lay down. Sometimes you have to practice with it or fiddle with it, but if it lays down, you save so much time in sanding and buffing. The sanding and buffing then is a tenth the time. When you spray with orange peel or when it's way too thick and clumpy, especially when a plane doesn't come apart, where the wing joins the body, it's always rough in there. Such a time saver until you actually make a take apart plane. You never realize how much time there is to be saved. And this is only the second one I've done, but I'm already convinced. It didn't take long. Especially with my IQ, it doesn't take too long. Anyway, we hope you're enjoying the video. You're enjoying seeing this Typhoon come to life. This has been a very challenging plane to build, but boy, I have enjoyed every minute of it. The Sato Squadron. This tape is just going to run out of tape here in a minute. Edges, always the edges extra. Like the way the little navigation lights laid out. All the edges, all the incline. Never hurts to have a little bit extra on any of the lettering. Once you get that first coat on, now you can start at one wingtip and just put a coat on. Lay it on. You can see what this is. Just so easy holding a plane if nothing else. And I'm always getting extra on the top, less on the bottom, more on the top.
I suppose he's doing the windows coming up.
He knows I'm doing the big parts. As soon as you do a big part, boom. End of day 2 of the Great Clear application. I always get nervous around the canopy. Make sure I don't get that canopy melted, get it too wet. Everything looks like it's drying up pretty well. And we hope we'll see you on the next tape. We're coming up on the end of this guy. The little parts are drying. I'll sleep well tonight.